Welcome to Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Panon.
I'm the Fire.
And I'm David.
Hooray!
I almost did my intro for Comic Trades Monthly right when I hit record. Welcome back to Comic Trades Monthly. And my brain just broke when I heard Panon's voice. I was like, what's happening?
Hold on. That's not right. We are glad to have you here in any and every format, David.
Oh, thank you. And we're happy to have all of you, our fantastic audience. It's lovely to have you here.
I love our audience. You guys are precious.
And if our audience ever wants to chat back at us, you can, of course, reach out to us through several different ways. There's email, which is cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or
you can go to the website, fill out the googly Google form at cosplaystitchandseam.com,
Or you can go to the Facebook page and send us your horror stories, happy stories, fun time stories there, or you can just join our fantastic community. We would love to see you there, and if Facebook's not your bag, we totally get that. We have a Discord server where we can talk about all the same things. We are talking about video games, anime, TV shows, comic books, fan art. It's all so good. Make sure that you are following our Facebook page and our Twitter, because every now and again we do drop a link on there. And if you're on the internet and you want to support the show, there's many different ways that you can do it. Share the podcast with a friend if you think that they would enjoy it. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast, on Audible, on Podchaser, wherever they let you, and we greatly appreciate that. And we'll even give you a shout out on the show. And of course, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/cosplaystitch. For $3 a month, we give you a shout out on the show every single month. And for $5 a month, you can join our Cosplay Chronicles!
wow.
Our next game will be November 7th, and it has been very interesting to see what all the players are doing and all the little kind of things that go on. And just like, I never planned for them to do the things they do. And it's glorious. It's hair pulling.
I don't think anyone could have planned for some of those. Oh boy.
Yeah. Now we have a giant cat to look after, Mercedes.
I know, I love it.
Uh-huh.
It goes invisible when it runs around, and I'm not when I'm riding it, and I love it.
Nice. Hey, Mercedes, how's that photo project coming?
Oh my gosh, where are your photos, people? I'm just kidding. But I am going to extend the deadline because where are your photos? Come on. Totally understandable though. Bet you there's burnout or something going on. It's okay. But extend the deadline to end of October to get in photos of you in cosplay and give credit to your favorite photographers. You can email those to us at our email or send a link through the Google form. Either of those will work. Again, extending to the end of October because I want to give you guys more time. It's a weird time of year. I realize school just started for a lot of people, so that's crazy. Yeah. So get those in by October 31st, Halloween. Woo!
Woo!
Take those photos on Halloween.
Ooh. And then send them right away.
Wow. That was a quick turnaround. Also, if you need some fun Halloween makeup, you can always check out foxbeautycosmetics.com. That's Fox with 2 X's. Use that promo code Stitch and Seam to get 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. Lots of lovely, fun shades, and perfect for Halloween is that necromancer lipstick. So,
so good.
Yeah. So, Mercedes, I hear you have some stories to tell us.
Oh, yes.
And a guest to introduce.
Oh, nah.
Oh.
Wow, I can feel the love already.
So,
who is this disembodied voice?
Disembodied voice. Special guest this week is Sadie. She went with me to Nan Desu Kan, and we're going to talk about Nan Desu Kan. Yay!
So Sadie, I know you put up with us all the time. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Who are you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not anyone important. I'm that weird person that kind of is in the background of a lot of photos, holding things and helping hand out cards and ribbons with the podcast and VFire at conventions. I'm
Not
that
important
person.
at all.
I also hang out on the Facebook and on the Discord. You'll see me, typing messages or harassing them while they play Dungeons and Dragons. That's me. I've also been on the podcast before as a cosplay handler. So that's usually my specialty at conventions is I help wrangle cosplayers, or I help them on stage with the competitions, or I'm just one of those background helpers.
I think we've essentially established that we are cosplay wife and wife.
Oh, yeah. Together we are the Sadies.
That's true, because you are Sadie and she is Mercedes.
Oh my gosh, that's so dumb. I love it.
I'm VFire's partner in crime, usually at conventions, and her road trip friend. So this time, I actually got to help Mercedes do a few of the interviews that we conducted during NDK.
I'm so excited to hear them.
Oh, they were a lot of fun. And let me tell you, there is some really, really, really amazing cosplayers at that convention. And the new venue is Chef's Kiss wonderful.
So before we get to the interviews with actual folks that were at the con, give us some of the highlights reel. What were your favorite parts about the convention?
Well, we were only there one day, but it was amazing.
Right, because someone had a wedding they needed to attend.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Priorities, it's like, I could have, no, I'm just kidding, I'm really glad I went. But, so we were there on Sunday, so last day of the convention, still totally worth the whole trip to go just the one day. We went to, I forgot her name. We went to a panel, and I really liked it. Panel was done by Snowsong Cosplay, so hi, Snowsong!
I know Snowsong! Oh, her stuff's so good.
Yeah, she did an awesome panel on, how to become a cosplayer and, what things to look for and how to plan out cosplays. It was really, really good and very informative. She had a huge showing to it. There was quite a few people in there.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so happy for her.
So, shout out to her. I loved the panel, and I think she did a really good job. That was one of my highlights. We also had a fun chat with just a couple of people for lunch, where we just all sat at a table and just shared a bunch of stories. I wish we'd have recorded that. That would have been fun. But it was just we were just eating and talking, and it was really fun. And just I miss being able to just socialize like that at conventions.
Yeah, that was one of the fun things. Was just talking to people at the con. We haven't had that for a while just because of COVID, so it's nice to kind of get back into that con groove.
Totally.
Definitely.
We walked into this space, and I turned to Sadie, and I was like, I miss this.
No.
Aww.
And I was like, we need to hurry to our interviews and then get coffee.
So how about you, Sadie? What were some of your favorite parts?
So I actually really enjoyed helping out with the interviews. I thought that was really fun, and getting to talk to, we actually talked to guests and attendees, and so it was nice having some of that person-to-person interaction. Everyone was, of course, super nice, and people were really I love seeing how creative people are with their costumes. And this year, it was really interesting to see how a lot of cosplayers included masks in their cosplay this year. And some of them were just super clever with it. And you could really tell who was at the convention as a con goer and who was just an attendee at the hotel, because all of the con goers, as far as I could tell, were just super on top of following the guidelines that the convention had set out and wearing their masks. And a lot of them had been really clever about how they were going to utilize it as part of their cosplay. It was really nice.
That's awesome. So you felt like they did a pretty good job of making sure the con was a safe place for everybody?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They did a really good job of just making sure that everyone was wearing their masks, and I didn't see really any attendees who were fighting against that. So everyone was pretty good about wearing them. And then as far as the food situation went, they had food trucks outside, but they also had a place where you could eat, and they had spaced out the tables pretty well. They look to be doing a pretty good job of trying to keep their attendees safe.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think the bigger venue also allowed people to have a little bit more space in between different groups. I think the one place that fell apart, and usually does fall apart, is it's hard to space people out in the artist alleys or, waiting in lines for the panels. And that's kind of to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what they could control, I think they did a really good job of just trying to keep all the attendees safe.
Being able to walk through Artist Alley, though, and have, like, those massive aisles, that was nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a lot more room to maneuver around both the Artist Alley tables and the exhibitors. It looks like they had like a space that if they wanted to grow and put more tables in, they could, but it was also nice to have some room to kind of maneuver. I think that especially helped some of the cosplayers who were trying to also be in cosplay and enjoy the convention and get to still go to the Artist Alley and go to the exhibitor hall and make fun purchases while not worrying about knocking over someone's display with their wings.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I know one of the things they were really promoting for this coming year, since it was changing venues, was all of the nice scenery and places to take photos at the new Gaylord Hotel. How was it? Was it pretty? I want to hear details.
It was very pretty.
Yeah. So the venue was really big, and the hotel space was absolutely gorgeous. They had even a waterfall and different exhibity areas. It kind of reminded me of I remember walking through the hotel portion of it, and I'm like, this is airport fancy.
Ooh.
There's 3 Starbucks. There's 3 Starbucks in a row.
As we walked from one side of the hotel to the other side of the hotel, and it was massive. They had multiple ballrooms. There was a lot of places, and they had arranged a lot of cosplay photo shoots. You could tell that they had sign-ups for those and meetups where they could take pictures. And so a lot of people were taking advantage of some of those kind of unique settings. You could tell that it was probably a place where they have a lot of weddings.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Ah, okay.
So they had a lot of areas where you would probably take bridal photo shoots. So, but the cosplayers were utilizing them.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome,
cool.
Actually. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, there's enough variety in that place that it's whatever you take there, you can probably get a cool shoot out of it.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing a part of a train, a caboose there, and being oh my gosh.
I missed that.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I don't remember that setup, but I remember they also had trees with lights that you would kind of expect for more of a Christmassy setting, and they were kind of not necessarily in the main hallways where the convention was taking place, but they were more in where the ballrooms were or where the more hotel stuff was. But I saw a lot of cosplayers and a lot of people moving throughout the hotel. So I assume that as long as there wasn't a bridal picture happening at that same time, that you could utilize those areas.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I could get lost there.
I got lost there.
You didn't tell me?
Well, you looked like you knew where we were going to get back to my car, so I trusted you.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's different. I can navigate a parking lot. I cannot navigate the inside of that building.
Fun fact, Mercedes, Sadie's still there. She's still lost.
I'm still wandering the halls.
Oh no!
I just
haunting NDK.
I just took Sadie's car home for her.
Oh man! All right. Any last shout outs before we get to those interviews?
to the staff at NDK, you guys rock, and you did an amazing job. Like, thank you.
Oh yeah, the staff was super helpful. Like the press staff especially were really on top of making sure that we knew who we were interviewing, where we needed to be, when we needed to be there. They even had recording equipment to like videotape the interviews.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot all about that.
And the archive.
Yes, they have an archive. So the interview that we did with
Danny Chambers.
Danny Chambers, yes. That one is recorded on video that they're going to keep in their archives. That was really, really cool to see. And they, the room that we interviewed in was their museum
That's
for
awesome.
NDK. Yeah, so you walk like through all these tables, and it has like the history of NDK and like all these different people, different events that happened, milestones. It was so cool to see. We were just like looking through that while we were waiting for Danny to show up, and then. Yeah, and then this episode and all of our other NDK episodes are actually going to go in their vault as well.
Oh,
Yeah, and they also had like all the t-shirts and photography of different events. Like they even had pictures of like when the World Cosplay Summit preliminaries used to be there. It was really cool seeing kind of the history of the convention and where they've come from.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think maybe the one thing I will miss is the balcony decorations from the
Oh, I
old
loved
yeah.
that. Oh, man.
But I think losing that, as sad as it may be worth the new venue, because it really feels like they have room to expand.
That's good. That's good.
Let's listen to some attendee interviews.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So we're here at Nan Desu Kan, NDK in Denver, and we are our first interview of the weekend since we came on Sunday. Gets to be with Danny Chambers.
Hi.
So
Hello, thank you for having me.
I was so excited, like when they're like, "Yeah, you get to interview Danny Chambers." I was like, "Yay!" So. Go ahead and tell our audience, like, if they haven't heard about you, like, who you are, what, voice acting you've done, and all that. Prop yourself up here.
I'll puff myself out.
Yes.
My name's Danny Chambers. I'm a voice actress in anime, video games, and stuff. You can hear me as Chisei Hatari in Ancient Magus Bride, Hina Sato / Odin in The Day I Became a God, and currently in the case study of Vanitas as Luca. And in My Hero, you can hear me as a new character, Muwata Fuwa, who like had one line in like episode 107. So, but yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. You were also Dahlia.
Oh, Dahlia Hawthorne in Ace Attorney.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's one of my favorite characters.
Oh yes, she was so much fun to play.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
So what made you like want to do voice acting? Like what about it like made you been that's what I want to do? Like
well, I've always been an actor. Like I've done theater but I was always limited to how I look. And I didn't see a lot of like POC people in anime. So I was like, I kind of want to change that. So went ahead, took classes and like did what I could to get in there because I love a lot of I love voice actors. I grew up like admiring them, like Cree Summer. She was a big inspiration for me. Like Phil Lamar, is it Keith Davidson? I think that's his name. I'm really bad with names, so I'm sorry ahead of time. But like seeing them, like they did so many characters where they don't have to look like the character all the time. And I was like, yeah, if I wanted to be a redheaded anime protagonist, I can. And I did twice. So it's like, yay.
Have you noticed like over the years that there's been more and more POC voice actors that have been coming in as well as POC characters in stories and whatnot? And
yeah, it's getting there, a work in progress. We there's a lot more of us out there who have been huge fans of anime and stuff like that. And it's good to see that they're actually entering in the scene, and it's progress. It's getting there, but it'll eventually happen where it's not going to be anime. It's not going to be exclusive. It's going to be inclusive with everybody, and I think it's getting there.
Yeah, it's like I've noticed like slowly more and more, and it's like let's keep it up. Do more now. Do more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had any roadblocks in becoming a voice actor, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably just time. A lot of stuff is time sensitive. Like sometimes you'll get like auditions that are due like the next day, and you're like, I'm booked up today with just life, or certain requirements of like accents and stuff, or location. Like sometimes before pandemic, you had to like live in a certain city in order to book or audition for certain things because you had to record in studio. But thanks to remote recording now, you can live in like Ohio and record somewhere else. Record for LA if you had a good setup. But it's that was definitely a huge roadblock for a while, is location. But working with people, from different studios and finding good connections and networking will really help overcome those as well.
So you said you have a theater background.
Yes.
So like voice acting is very, audio, and there's definitely a lot of like emotion and character you can put into a voice, but how has theater like helped you develop those voice acting skills?
Ooh, with theater, it's a lot bigger. You show everything, like your whole body, your face, your voice, your actions. Like, it's way bigger. With voice acting, it's a lot smaller. So you have to convey all your emotions within a voice, because the character's already animated, but you don't need to, do all the motions and stuff, because you can't, because you're in a booth. You don't really have much room. So, like, if your character's like waving their hands and yelling, you can't really do it in the booth because it'll
stick you in a box.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like a small box. It's probably like, I don't know, probably, it depends on which booth that you get, but like, you're limited, so you can't really do a lot of hand gestures or, jump it down or whatever, to show the emotion. You have to do all with your voice. So me being a theater actor, a lot of voice actors who have a theater background are in anime. That will help because we already have to be expressive with our voice on stage. So learning that, taking that and then just putting it in front of a microphone without all the big stuff, it works.
It allows you to focus in and narrow in on the one thing. That's actually really cool.
Very, very nice.
So how do you get into a character when you approach a voice?
If it's not anime, if it's like a prelay animation or Western animation, I will, they'll give us like all the information on the character and just study that, like figure out what they want, what they are wanting out of the scene, and what's their overall goal. And it's not like anything like, method acting, like, I have to put myself, like if there's a drug dealer or something, I don't know. I don't have to go out and be a drug dealer, but it's diving deep into what the materials they gave me and figuring out, how to portray in the best possible way for them to get what they want. And there's something else I was gonna say, I forgot. Sorry. But if it's anime, sometimes I can do research on it. Like if there's a manga out, I'll watch that or watch the sub, and kind of see like what they're wanting in the episodes. So it's really fun doing that because they get to learn so much about the characters. So
yeah, when you portray a character with an accent, do you have any like word tricks that help you stay in that accent or get back into it once you are voicing the character?
Yes, I rarely do accents. Need to do better at it. But yeah, sometimes I'll say like a phrase, like for Australian accent, I'll be like, "Oh, good day, mate," and I'll just say that like over and over again to help me get back in the flow of it. Because sometimes when you talk a long time in an accent, you'll kind of drop it because you'll forget. You're like, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing." But yeah, just certain phrases like that, or I'll just say something random in British to be like, "Oh yeah."
Do you ever use any of those tricks when your character's voice is significantly different than your regular speaking voice?
No, not really. I just do it because sometimes we have to do, like for anime especially, the max, at least my max, is like 4 hours, and I do a lot of like kid voices. and that's about as long as I can go. So I'll it's easy to get into it, which is fine, but it is very taxing because it's a lot of energy and it wears me out a little bit faster.
So, some of your kid voices, I was just like, there's no way that voice came from her.
Yes.
I do it all the time.
So cute.
So with video games, like you've done video games and, you know, anime and Western animation and things like that, is there like a different set of skills that you have to take when approaching like a video game character? Or, I mean, are they having you do more like grunts?
Oh, yeah. Like there's different ways you have to do it because, like, you know, video games, they're called efforts. And so what that is you know, if a character jumps, you have to do the jump sound, or if they do an attack, you do an attack sound, and there's always like short, medium, and long. So it's like, okay, you're attacking this person with like a short stab, and then medium stab, and then like the long wind up, and I'm like, oh god. Oh, but it's fun though, because it's like you let a lot of anger out. Especially when you do it, you're just like, I'm just so mad, you know. It's a good way to let loose.
That's
therapeutic.
That's where I would be tempted to do method acting and probably hit a microphone with my hand.
Oh no! Don't touch the microphone. Do not touch the microphone. You'll get yelled at. Trust me.
So do you have any advice for any like aspiring voice actors?
Yes. If you want to do this, do your research because it is very taxing emotionally and mentally because it will get to you, especially as an actor, because we're always wanting more, and if you're not constantly booking, it will mess with your mind. You're like, am I not good enough? Like it's such a battle. But
gosh, that's like me with the cosplay contest. It's
yes.
like, if I'm not signed up for a contest, what am I doing?
Yes. And so you have to like have a good support system. So and I'm fortunate to have, you know, a good support system with my family, and I know a lot of people aren't, but if they're, you know, friends that you trust that you can rely on that will help, you know, keep you lifted, that's a good way to do it. And also, if anybody wants to become one, there's a website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com by D. Bradley Baker. It's a fantastic website that has all the resources you need.
That's amazing.
This is like the perfect name for the website.
Yes, yes. I'm like, I need to get cards and print them out and be like, here, just take this.
Go here. All right, so we also want to talk about conventions.
Mm-hmm.
So is this your first convention, or like have you been to conventions before, or?
No, this is like my 5th convention.
Oh, nice.
Yes. My con agent has me busy. I have like 3 in October. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
What do you like about like going out to conventions? Like, does it help like bridge the gap with your fans, or like?
Yeah, I love meeting people. It's so fun. It's just like geeking out about all the stuff. Like yesterday I had a panel called Geeking Out, and we just gushed about ancient Magus, and it was so much fun. And to be able to talk with people rather in person rather than online is so much more relieving, because I could see their face, you know, and I like human interaction just after a year of being inside. It's a fun, and I enjoy all the cosplay too. Oh man, it's so cool. Like, how do you do this?
Okay, speaking of cosplay, like, have you met people that have like worn like cosplays? Well, obviously you probably have, but like, what is it like when you meet someone who's like cosplaying a character that you voiced?
It's a surreal feeling. Like, it's not like, oh my god. It's not like, you did this? Like, oh my god. Like, somebody was Elias, he's still walking around, and he like had a skull and everything, and it lit up, and I was like, dude, this is so cool.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's so nice. And actually, this girl on TikTok, she did a lip sync to one of our Ace Attorney bloopers, and she dressed up as Dahlia, and she looked so good.
I'm gonna have to look up that TikTok.
So cute.
Have you ever cosplayed?
Oh yeah. I actually cosplayed as Chisei for Halloween a couple years ago. There's no pictures on it because it was for a work party. But yeah, no, I have a couple coming out that I'll do for Halloween in October, so I'm going to wear them during those conventions.
That'll be really fun, I think.
So yeah, I was going to ask if you were going to like, if you would cosplay one of your characters, but you have, so.
Yes. Oh yeah, I would.
Are there any that you haven't gotten a chance to cosplay that you would love to cosplay in the future?
Actually, what is your dream?
Dream cosplay? Ooh, there's one, but I can't talk about it because it hasn't come out yet.
Maybe next time.
It's you'll definitely know. You'll be like, look at this. It's so nice.
At the end of every episode, we do cosplay horror or happy stories. So, like, horror stories can be like, you know, you're getting ready for convention and it's the middle of the night and you hot glued your hand to something, you know. There's like ridiculous things like that, or, you know, happy stories where like you had an inspiring or really fun like experience that you want to share. We always do that at the end of every episode, so one or the other.
I don't think I had anything crazy yet.
Or if you want to talk about convention story, that is also...
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh no, actually one happened today. So at my table, I have like a little ancient magus set up where I have Chisei's wand. So I always wrap it very carefully in my suitcase. And it's been through so much, and I'm like, yay, it's like indestructible. The one time, I'm like, I'll just wrap it just this way. The one time I wrapped it so different, it broke in half.
Oh no!
And I was so sad.
Oh no!
And so I get in the hotel room and I asked one of the liaisons, I'm like, so do you have any like super glue or anything? They're like, no, I'm sorry. And then like 10 minutes later she comes back, she's like, I have nail glue. I'm like, that may work. So she gave it to me and I'm like nail gluing it, like on, like trying to put it together. And then I dropped it. I dropped the part that had glue on the bed. And I was like, shoot. So we had to like get water and soap and just like clean it. But then I redid it and then I stuck it together and then I let it dry and overnight. And then it worked and I was like, oh, thank God. So now I'm like, I'm bringing nail glue with me everywhere.
Happy ending.
I have used nail glue as super glue in the past before, and it works wonders.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I might do that instead of, you know, the big old tub of Gorilla Glue or something, you know?
And I'm like, now I gotta add that to my list of like emergency glues.
Yes, it works wonders.
Well, it's been awesome chatting with you. You are amazing, and it's so awesome to meet you.
Thank you.
I was very excited for this. Excited and nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, don't be nervous. I'm trust me. I'm human. I put my shoe on one foot at a time. Yeah, one foot at a time.
Have you been?
If they're boots, it's one leg at a time.
There we go.
Have you been having fun at NDK?
Oh yes, it is so much fun. Everybody's so polite. I like it. It's so just nice, and it's just I could breathe out here. You know, because in Texas it's a lot of humidity. So
yeah, it's definitely a lot drier out here.
Yeah,
I feel like whenever I go to somewhere with humidity, I walk out of the airport and it's just like,
yeah. I'm like,
with a
who
brick.
sucked out all the air? Like it's like you know a big dog just licked you and you're like, ugh. Yeah, like I went to MechaCon a couple weeks ago, and it was like I walk outside in that Louisiana humidity, and I was like, walking like, ugh.
Oh, bring it to a dog like, ugh.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
So, do you make your own cosplays as well, or?
I try to, but I actually commission a friend of mine to make it. She makes them because I'm still learning how to sew. So I'm like all the complicated stuff. I'm like, can you make this for me? I'll pay you. You know? And she's like, yeah, that's fine.
Commissions, making them your own, as long as you're having fun, that's really the important thing.
Yes, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Did you have any characters that you wanted to cosplay that weren't necessarily ones that you have voice acted for, but just ones that you'd be excited to do?
Definitely. I want to cosplay a lot of Genshin Impact characters. Just because it's such a cool design.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Kaya's my favorite.
Oh, yes.
I've got my first purchased cosplay because I've always made all mine. But it's gonna be Captain Bido, and I'm so excited.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yes,
It's gonna be so much fun.
That'll be really cool. Well, thank you so much.
Where can people find you online?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at SkinnyMini07, Instagram at Danny D Chambers, and at TikTok at SkinnyMini07. I should just make it all SkinnyMini07.
Skinny Mini.
SkinnyMini.
Okay. SkinnyMini. That's so cute. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good game.
Good game.
All right, so we ran into Madeline Morris, who's super duper awesome, amazing voice actress. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
You flatter me right from the top. My name is Madeline Morris. I am a voice actor. Oh gosh, what do I do? I'm looking at a spread of all of my characters. I can't remember anything. I play Hibiki in How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift. I play Kabane in Kemono Jihen, Yuika in Hensuki, Misato and Nichijo, Miko and Kaguya-sama, Eru and Hyoka, Inka and Fire Force. Some other stuff.
So many.
You remember so many names is impressive alone.
Sometimes I don't. I had to look one up this morning. I was like, who do I play in?
That's fair.
So our podcast, like, we do cosplay stuff and things like that. So have you ever cosplayed?
I have cosplayed. I used to cosplay all the time. I grew up going to conventions and stuff as a fan and cosplaying for that. My first cosplay was Miroku from Inuyasha.
Perfect.
When I was like 12.
Oh, that's so cute.
And a few years ago, I cosplayed one of my own characters at a convention. Like nobody knew who I was as a person or as a character. It was fine because like it made me happy. But I was in cosplay as Eru Chitando from Hyoka at a con, and I was like,
you're walking around, you sound just like her. They're like,
oh my
what?
gosh, I'm just like her.
Your impression is perfect.
Isn't that weird?
Now, if you could cosplay any character that you wanted to, what would be your dream cosplay?
Seth from Trinity Blood.
Oh my gosh,
That is her
yes.
dream cosplay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Trinity Blood had some of the best like costume design, character design. It's so elaborate, it's beautiful. Like
Oh my god,
I've
yes.
seen pictures of like these Russian cosplayers with this like unbelievably like fabulous sparkle.
Anime or the manga version?
Oh gosh, the manga. If I remember correctly, the manga version is like the art book version.
Yes.
Give me the art book.
Yeah,
version.
I was like, you gotta go one step
Go
further.
hard,
Art
yeah.
book. Yep.
Yeah, if I had the skill at all, I would be all over it.
So, some of our listeners are like avid, like they want to become voice actors and things like that. What advice would you give them to get started?
Oh boy. Okay, this is gonna sound really negative. I promise it's not. Because this is the first and best piece of advice I ever got about going into the performing arts. Don't do it. If you can be happy doing anything else, do that. But if you need this like you need oxygen, then if you're starting from the ground up, find your acting classes, go do community theater, do plays, do film, take other kinds of classes for other kinds of performance, take mime, take dance, take singing lessons, do yoga. The coolest thing, one of the best things that you can do for your voice as a voice actor is to be in tune with your body, because you're channeling all of your physicality through only your voice. And so having a good relationship with your body and understanding your body and where your resonators are is incredibly useful. I highly recommend yoga. Fitzmaurice voice work, the Linklater technique, like all of that, like hardcore acting.
These are like
stuff.
terms that I need to look up now. I'm like, resonators. I need to know that.
It's just like releasing tension in your body for all of these, like, all of the cavities, in your sinuses and in your chest and everything, for you to get as much.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you did a lot of theater.
Yes.
Would you say a lot of that theater background has really helped you in the voice acting career?
Oh Lord, yes. Yeah. I majored in theater. I was working in theater for many years before I got into doing this at all. And my biggest hurdle was, hey, stop projecting into the mic. The mic is right in front of you. Just talk and talk like a person. And I'm like, but I'm used to projecting to the back of the house. What do you mean? Cold reading skills. Like going from theater into voiceover. I had this kind of background in going to auditions and doing cold reads for auditions. And that's all anime dubbing is cold reads. You go in, you have the text, you've got like 2 seconds, and you need to be in it and there and ready to go. I'm talking with my hands a lot. This is an audio medium.
No, you're good. It's okay. They understand.
But then podcasters do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But then on the flip side, doing so much anime has made me better at theater auditions because I spend all that time cold reading, and I can, sit there and make these, distinct choices.
That's so cool. When you're given a character, how do you get your voice into character, or how do you step into an accent if you're required to do an accent for voice acting?
Sometimes it's, especially with accents, there will be a line, like one line of dialogue that's like, okay, this is gonna get me into my voice. Like Javelin from Azure Lane. Wow, God, what's the one? She's very high pitched and also English. So it was, I'm Javelin. Aren't you from the Royal Navy Camp too? And then from there, that's where she lives. And I start every session with the same line.
Oh, wow.
And then, and it helps to kind of center myself. For Kabane, who's all like super, like if I do it, it won't pick up. He's just super quiet and super reserved and all at the front of the mouth and very small.
Oh, cool.
And
this makes me want to try some.
It's really fun. Like, and I think one of the best things you can do for like locking in a character voice is knowing where it sits in your body.
Okay.
Like where it sits in your mouth, where you place your words, where you hold your tongue, the way that you hold the rest of your body. I think I recorded all of Hyoka standing on my toes.
Huh.
So it was just this very light, very kind of floaty thing. And I don't know, I caught myself on my toes a lot.
That's, I would never have thought of that. Like, that's amazing.
It's bizarre, and that, like, going back to it after some time, like the Strike Witches universe, I played a character in Brave Witches who now is back in the World Witches kind of spin-off, and I had to figure out where that lived again, because it's 4 years after the fact. And I'm like, oh no, what do you sound like? I'm not a farrier! Okay, that's where you live. Okay, so here's where we're gonna live for this one. So knowing where those lines are and where they live and where your tension is, like where the character's tension is super helpful.
So, what is
actually? We should probably wrap up.
Oh, okay.
So,
of course.
So at the end of each of our episodes, we actually end with a cosplay happy or horror story. So happy could be like something wholesome that happened, or horror could be like, you're in the middle of the night and,
Sewing on buttons while your best friend cries in the corner at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, I did that.
I was about to say, that sounded like a shot. That sounded very personal.
Yes, I'm like
Calhoun.
Yep, crying while putting cosplay. That's what horror stories usually are. Just like the super relatable. I've been there. Those kind of stuff. So, do you have any like stories like that you can share, whether it's in the voice acting or when you were doing cosplay,
or even stage productions?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I have injured myself all over in stages all over Texas.
Oh no.
There was a period of time where I don't think I didn't injure myself doing a show. Working on the same set, I sliced. I have a little scar right here. I sliced my thumb with a box cutter.
Ouch.
And gave myself nerve damage. During that same set build, I punctured my finger with a pneumatic nail gun.
Ouch!
And hit bone. I've broken fingers. I've lost fingernails.
You are the Spider-Man Broadway.
Yes. Spider-Man, turn off the Maddie. I do a lot of plays at a theater called Pocket Sandwich that does like traditional melodrama.
Ooh.
With lots of like audience interaction and cheering and booing and
that sounds fun.
a lot of like breaking character to like sass the audience kind of a thing. But they also get to throw popcorn at you. So picture, if you will, a stage with a like a semi-gloss like sealant, on the painted floor with popcorn all over the place, and me in boots with the treads completely worn off.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So I run out for curtain call and my feet come completely out from under me and I land flat on my ass and bruise my tailbone. And then I had to turn around and like stage manage a show. So I spent 6 weeks not being able to sit down backstage.
Oh.
This sucks.
Ouch. Well, thank you so much. You've been wonderful. Where can fans find you online?
I am on Twitter the most. That is at Maddie Morris VA. That is MADDIEMORRISVA. I am on Instagram at Miss Maddie Morris. And I think Facebook might be Maddie Morris VA as well. Don't quote me on that. Find me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. It's cool. You can also go to madeleinemorris.actor. That's my website, and there's links to all of that stuff.
Sweet.
There.
All right.
More question. Bulbasaur. Why?
Oh yes. Tell me.
The best Pokemon?
Tell me.
Bulbasaur is number one for a reason.
Yes.
Number one in the decks and number one in our hearts.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
He's a good little frog cabbage. I love him dearly. Ivysaur's amazing.
Venusaur's a boss.
Venusaur's a boss. Venusaur with thick fat. Immune to resistant to ice and fire? Oh, forget about it. God.
Yeah.
It's a beast. It's also tactically the best choice playing through red, blue, yellow because he can wreck the first two gyms with no worry.
Oh, you hear that, David? I mean,
yeah, you
yes.
hear that, David?
Wow, just calling your sound editor right out there.
Anyways, please don't edit that part out. I love you, David. Bye. All right. So I am here with
Corbin Cook.
Corbin?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yep, you're good. So Corbin here. Who are you dressed as? This is amazing.
This is Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, Mortal Kombat 11. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. You look amazing. Tell us about how you put this costume together. Like, what was like the toughest part of this? Because all of it looks very complicated.
Yeah, so the helmet and the shoulder pads were probably the pieces that took the longest. They were the pieces that we started with. Just kind of would work on it a little bit every night after work. We were both still full-time working through the pandemic, so not like a ton of time to kind of devote to things. But yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of just kind of like sitting in front of a mirror and going, is this the right shape? Is this kind of whatnot? At one point, I actually had like a tinfoil helmet that kind of got the outline of the shape. And then once we were happy with it, did kind of the duct tape dummy over that and then cut the pieces. And then it moved to foam and then kind of the heating and shaping and whatnot. But yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of just kind of figuring out shapes based off of pictures. Thankfully, in the game, you can get like the kind of 3D turnaround of the character, so that helped immensely. But a lot of the detail work and whatnot that they have in the models, trying to get close-ups of that and then replicate it out onto the pieces was just kind of cathartic to like actually do and frustrating to try and like mimic. So
that's so cool.
A lot of just kind of sitting there making the debate of like, is anyone going to actually notice this? Is it worth the time? And then kind of ultimately coming to the decision that like this is more for me than anyone else, and putting that level of detail and passion into it just so that I enjoyed it while I was making it.
Oh, that's so good.
What drew you to this character?
So when they first announced him, he had such a presence to, like, he kind of like walked on and sat down in a throne. I was just like, man, that's just presence. And like Shao Kahn specifically is a character that a lot of people love to hate just because of the kind of franchise and being a boss character and all of this. And so I wanted to have a character that people would want to interact with at the cons. Like Sub-Zeros and Scorpions are very common, and so being able to kind of have the like on the floor kind of like act out a scene or something like that is something that's really unique to cosplay. And having kind of a shared moment to where onlookers can go, oh, it's that thing, or you know, whatnot. And like things like that are really what make this fun and why we keep doing it.
Awesome. I really need to know, like, how did you sculpt the skull part of this? The way it like turns into the flames is so cool.
So it actually started as a Halloween mask. So, you know, skull masks are very common during Halloween, and you took that as a base, and we used the foam EVA clay.
Okay.
And really just kind of looking at the model, we decided to kind of go with more of like a gorilla skull, and so that's kind of where the fangs and things like that kind of came in, and just looking at pictures and then just sculpting it out and whatnot. But,
it looks so cool. Like, you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
How long have you been working on this costume?
I don't know. I think we started after the holidays last year, and there were periods of time where we would just kind of put it down. I mean, the pandemic really kind of kicked a lot of people's motivations and things like that. Being required workers, as a way of putting it, difficult. But it's finding the passion to just kind of sit down for like an hour or two. Weekends were kind of like a time to kind of like zen, to where you would focus on just doing art and working on this and whatnot. I don't know if we have like an hour count, because it wasn't really important to us. It was just kind of
doing it for you and using it to, like you said, zen. I like that.
Absolutely.
So, like, with conventions coming back and all that, have you felt like the conventions have handled like the COVID precautions smartly, and like how you feeling about all that? I mean, you're here, so
obviously fully vaccinated and all of that. I think it's something to be said that most of the actual con goers, like, it's very easy to tell who's actually here for the con and who's not, besides the apparel, because so many people are wearing masks, and it just it seems to fit with the culture of anime and whatnot. Being inclusive, trying to do our part, like, those are main themes in a lot of animes, and like it's reassuring that we don't have to do a lot of policing and telling people to wear it over their nose and things like that. That being said, I think there is something to be said about like proving vaccination status and whatnot, but with a new venue like this and all of that, I can see how impossibly difficult that would be to manage with all of the different entrances and things like that. Nice. So overall, I think the community itself is doing a lot of self-policing, and I think that's tremendous.
So we end each episode with like a cosplay happy or horror story. So do you have any stories you'd like to share about cosplay?
I'm trying to think of...
A horror story might be an example of working on a costume and just a piece fell apart right before the convention, or spending a long time late at night, or pouring, molten metal on your leg.
I did that
while trying to cast a hairpiece.
I don't know if I have anything as far as like horror stories,
or a happy
but
story you've had at the convention.
Yeah, I think one of the favorite things that we do is, because we typically come with a different costume for each day. One thing, and this is more for me, she does tremendous cosplay. She actually has a Sindel that goes with this, but our thing is that we always like to pick costumes that are couples and related, so
that's really fun.
This is like a shared passion between the two of us. We like picking characters that have ties to each other, and again, kind of acting those kind of things out on the floor and whatnot, make a lot of people kind of just energize and have a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
As far as a happy story, like being able to kind of have those moments and act things out and be silly but still within character.
You get to share those moments with someone that you care about.
Absolutely.
That's really sweet.
And
that's so sweet.
Going to be what keeps us doing this until,
Where can people find you guys online?
I'm actually not very present online. I know she has kind of more of a presence and whatnot. I don't know if we have cards or anything right now.
I go by Dragon Fox Demon online.
Dragon Fox.
I'm an artist, so most of my stuff is art-based.
I love art. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So now I am here with
Kaylee Ann Cosplay.
Kaylee Ann Cosplay. And you are dressed as the most gorgeous, wonderful Venusaur,
yeah.
yes. Steampunk looking Venusaur.
Kind of like cottagecore, like
core,
Plant
yes.
Mom, yes.
Very cottagecore, yes. This is so cute.
Thank you.
Tell me about how you put this costume together.
Definitely. So I originally started it in March of 2020 when the world kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
In anticipation that this would be for NDK of 2020. That obviously didn't happen. But I do not own a sewing machine, so everything was hand sewn.
What?
Yeah.
Even the ruffles?
Even the ruffles. This took me about a month to do, to hem it all. And these are actually
it has horsehair braid on it too.
These are actually old bed sheets that we were going to toss because the fitted sheet had a hole in it.
Recycling.
And so we just used the top sheet for it, and it worked out beautifully. Yeah, all of this, I didn't really even have a pattern. I just kind of learned how to sew a circle skirt and just kind of winged it from there. The blouse
would never have known.
The blouse is just a bunch of different shapes, like 2 rectangles for the sleeves and then a square for the top.
Your stitching is so
thank
even
you.
and beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then all this was hand embroidered as well. All the little Venusaur bumps on the end.
Yeah.
And that took a long time. I went through quite a few different TV series to do it. I got little details like mud because I just figured she's in the garden, whatnot. She's a plant type Pokemon.
The texture is just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I made this little pocket and hand embroidered a little leaf on it. That's a little leaf energy symbol, I guess, is what it is from the Pokemon game.
Yeah, and then the bulb, the flower, the leaves. Tell me about this.
So this is all ultimately made from EVA foam. Especially the leaves are, the little stems on the leaves is EVA foam clay. Same with the tips on the vines is EVA foam clay.
That's so cool.
And these are just EVA foam tubes. The back was originally, the trunk of it is a cardboard tube box, I guess. It's kind of like a hat box.
Okay.
That I wrapped Warbler around and then painted it, so it gave that structure. And that's hiding all of the mechanical elements for the lights in it.
Smart.
And the lights are obviously, they're 93 LED lights that are in circles of varying sizes. And there's a tiny little computer in there that's programmed to do the swirl with the yellow color. The flowers foam. I got it hooked up to wood, which is like my structural base.
I was checking that out, yeah.
And I used the Disney fairy technique where I have the wire and it's going through a corset that I have in the middle of this.
Smart.
So I get that seamless, like it's floating on my back sort of thing rather than straps. Especially with the off the shoulder, I didn't want to have to deal with bulky straps as well.
Yeah.
But
so is this your own design?
This is, yes. I drew it up in March at the beginning when I thought I would design it. And I I can actually pull up a picture maybe. But yeah, it was originally everything that I did, for the most part, was pretty spot on. The socks, whoops, no, you're good. The socks that I actually dyed the same exact color as what they were supposed to be. So that was a win for me.
Oh, yeah.
I love when that happens.
Oh my gosh, especially with dyeing fabric. I feel like it's so difficult.
I am terrible at dyeing fabric.
That's what I originally drew.
Oh.
And I felt like it went pretty close to everything.
Yeah.
I learned how to weave a basket. This is actually made out of Warbler.
You made this basket?
Yeah, the basket's made out of Warbler.
Oh my gosh.
That was 2 nights' work of working on it. Oh my gosh. And then I'll have to get a picture with you in just a moment. Oh my goodness. And what the problem with Warbler is that it sticks to itself when it heats up.
Yep.
And so I had the difficult time of trying to weave it through without it getting stuck to one another.
Oh.
And I'm kind of covering up my badge with my one little area where I'm like, it's a little wonky, but we're just going to leave it as
You're
such.
like, shh, it's not there.
But yeah, all of this is strap underneath. The leather is all Warbler. I learned how to sew my little lining.
So much work. Oh my goodness.
It was a lot, 1.5 years worth, but it was well worth it.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So, what would do you have a cosplay happy or horror story to share?
So, a horror story actually just happened this con where I was on my way to craftsmanship judging with this, and I made the mistake of using nails to attach my wire instead of screws. So, as I'm walking, I was going fine for about 30 minutes on my way to craftsmanship judging, and the nails stripped out and the whole leaf fell off.
Oh no!
And just full on panic. Your worst nightmare happens. And so thankfully we're able to pick it up and just bring it into craftsmanship judging, and I told them we're gonna get screws instead of nails tonight. It'll work. And they were more than happy just to see it in person and whatnot, and ended up winning best in intermediate. So
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations!
Oh, thank you. So,
I can see how you would take a prize. This is fantastic.
This is such a great design.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And your makeup job was also
thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
So well.
All right, I am now here with
Acro Cosplay. I'm Tidine, or Acro Cosplay on Instagram, ACRYLL _cosplay.
Perfect. And please tell the audience who you're cosplaying as? I'm giddy with this because it's one of my favorite characters.
I'm cosplaying Razor from Genshin Impact.
Yes! When Razor showed up, I was like, I must have this character.
Literally, like, flagged me down across the hallway.
Yes! So, okay. So, oh my goodness, you look amazing.
Thank you.
We were chatting about your costume and how you bought it online. I'm also, like, buying my first ever well, I've made cosplays, but doing my first bought cosplay. There we go. I can words today. I run a podcast. Anyways, so what was the buying process like for you?
It was pretty smooth. I found a really nice website, and it was like a bunch of different sellers. And I just found his costume, and the website was really nice. They like asked me for my measurements for stuff. They were super sweet. They told me they sent me so many like update emails and stuff like that. So it was relatively easy. I know there's a lot of like uncertainty with a lot of like bot cosplays because a lot of them come from overseas, which can be a little bit difficult because you're like, is there a language barrier or not in this? But they were really, really nice about everything. So.
Yeah, and the quality of this one is just fantastic. When you
it's
walked
pretty
by,
good.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, it turned out really well, so I'm happy about it.
Awesome. And then you made this wonderful claymore. Like,
yes.
Tell us about how you put this guy together.
So this is my Rain Slasher. He's my lightest sword that I have. I used cardboard for the base, like the flat part, and then I built on top of it with floor foam, like EVA floor foam. And then I did the whole thing with a layer of like really thin craft foam with the whole thing. And then I did the detailing out of craft foam as well, and then like primed it and painted it and everything like that. But there's also a PVC pipe in here, and then I just kind of like built it around that.
Awesome.
Lots
it's got
of foam.
The structure that it needs, and then tons of foam.
And super light.
And glow in the dark?
And glow in the dark. I used glow in the dark paint for it just because it gives it that extra, like, I know that this can glow in the dark, and that's cool.
Yeah. That is so awesome. Oh my goodness. I love all of this. And your costume is pretty comfortable to wear.
It's super comfortable, yeah. It's way more manageable than I thought because he has so many pieces that I thought it would be like really annoying. But everything like came pretty put together where I'm not worried about stuff falling off all the time. That's awesome. Which is really nice. So he's actually been like really pretty manageable.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So cosplay happy or horror story?
Ooh, let's go with a happy one. My best friend of all time I met because of cosplay. I've met all of my best friends because of cosplay, but it was on accident because we were both cosplaying Attack on Titan, and it was my first ever convention, and I was sitting against a pillar, like exhausted, at like the beginning of the day, and she just walked up to me, sat next to me, and was like, "You're the only AOT cosplayer I've seen all day. We're friends now." And she's my best friend 4 years later. Like, love of my life, my soulmate, and that is my favorite con story.
That's amazing. Yeah. All right, one more time, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram. I do have a TikTok, but I'm very like there once in a blue moon, so just follow my Instagram. It's ACRYLL_cosplay.
All right, thank you so much.
Of course.
We are here with
Nee. Like the knights.
I love
say Nee.
And Bo.
And Bo, awesome. It's nice to meet you guys. And you guys are cosplaying as
Cloud Strife.
And Zach Fair.
Final
Awesome.
Fantasy VII.
You guys look amazing, and I love Final Fantasy VII. I gush about it so much.
Yep, you do.
Yeah. So we were talking about your costumes, and you guys said that you commissioned a lot of these. How is like the commission part of like finding and researching? Like, how did that all go for? What was your process for that?
Well, people do pieces of the cosplay, so you have a lot of variety in what you want to like pick and choose to put together to make the whole piece. Like, I don't normally go for commissioning a whole set from someone, although most of these pieces are from one place. Except for like, you know, you get the cosplay and you're like, well, this doesn't fit right and the pants aren't right, so I gotta swap those out. Actually, once I put this whole thing together, like the gloves are a little bit heavy because they're made out of like wood, and I think I'd go for foam on that. But that's something that I think that I could make. So I don't know, I kind of start with a base and then put it together and try to figure out where my hang-ups are with it. Awesome. And then go from there.
Yeah.
And Etsy is your best friend for that.
I did get most of my stuff off of Etsy, like my boots. and the harness as well. But these are just 3M gloves, and
perfect.
And the vest and the pants are from Amazon.
Yeah, no, I mean, like this shirt, when I found this shirt on Amazon, I was like, that's it, that's the shirt right there. This is the shirt that I chose off of Amazon too. The shirt that came with this commission cosplay, like, wasn't as good. I don't know, just the fit of this one is good.
No, that's awesome. What are your guys' like favorite parts of these costumes?
The sword, obviously. I rig magnets into it so that I can hang it effortlessly on my back. I saw a lot of clouds just carrying their sword around, like on their shoulder, but I didn't want to do that because I'm lazy.
You like effortlessly took that off of your back.
Watch me effortlessly put it back on.
Oh my gosh. Hey, nice.
I've had a lot of practice.
I had to fiddle with the shoulder pauldrons a lot to get them into the place that I like them, but I like they're floppy and they move with my arms and they don't hinder me at all.
Give you the flexibility that you need.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The opposite about that. My pauldron isn't attached to anything. It just wants to fall.
Just stays there. Sort
cool
of.
Looking, but it's heavy.
Yeah. All right. So do you guys have a cosplay happy or horror story to share?
Well, we could tell what happened to us today. We made it just about all the way here after buying our badges yesterday, and then we realized that I left my badge at home.
Oh no!
So,
and how far away is home?
We're staying with friends,
yeah.
so it's like 15 minutes away. But
still.
We've had, I mean, personally, we live 70 miles away in reality.
Oh.
And I have left stuff like home before, so that's always, you're just like, okay, I'm packing multiple cosplays, so if I forget a piece of one cosplay, maybe I can just substitute in another one.
Very nice.
That's how you get through that, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. You guys look amazing.
Thank you.
And where can people find you online?
Shinra Corporate on Twitter, at Shinra Corporate.
Perfect. All right, so we are here with Miguel and Tulio. Tulio and Miguel, the mighty and powerful gods. Yes, also they have somebody actually cosplaying the armadillo. and Chell. That's just right. Chell is...
Wrong shape.
Yes. So, all right. So I'm gonna have you guys each introduce yourselves. So
my name's Jessie, and I'm Miguel today.
My name is Chris. I'm the armadillo.
I'm Callie. I'm Chell. I'm Corey, and I'm Tulio.
Awesome. And okay, are these handmade?
Yeah. Every piece of this one, minus my sandals, has been handmade.
These are gorgeous, super well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
mine is handmade. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. And Mr. Armadillo?
Mine is not.
But I need to know, where did you find that?
This was Amazon. Yeah, I know.
No, that's
an armadillo, though.
Right?
There's a full armadillo costume on Amazon. I might need to find one for me. No, it's fantastic. So what made you guys want to do these characters? I mean, other than they're fabulous.
It's a movie that we've all talked about loving for a really long time, and we were finally just trying to figure out what cosplay to do for our third day this weekend, and we're just well, we've got the time, let's do it.
Yeah.
And gender bend it, because why not?
Yeah.
And we always like doing group cosplays. It gives us all an excuse to be together in the prep part of it as well. So group cosplays are always a big selling point for us, so to have something we could all dive into together was awesome.
So why the armadillo?
Well, this is my first time at a con, and I figured this would be a good one to sort of jump into, and yeah, it'd be fun.
Okay, since it's your first time at a convention, what have you thought about it so far?
It's fantastic. Yeah, everyone's so nice, and it's just a good time. Yeah.
And, has, the mask wearing or any of that, been, is it just chill, or is it,
The mask wearing?
Yeah.
No, I actually kind of like it. It helps with the confidence. So
Right?
It's only my eyes are showing. I kind of like it. Yeah.
I agree with you. It's it's nice. It's oh, no one knows that I'm standing here starstruck as people walk by and I'm
Yes. You can talk during photo taking.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's easier to hide my RBF. It's fine.
And then what drew you to Shell?
They were talking about this group cosplay, and I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. I've seen the movie maybe like once or twice. And Shell was the easiest to put together real quick because I have very limited time. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to make this in a day and I'm done.
Perfect. One day, that's awesome. Now, how long did Tulio Miguel take?
Tulio took probably cumulatively, I would say, like 10 to 12 hours over a couple of weeks, just because I had never sewn anything like this before. I mainly made masks over the last year and like made repairs on stuff. So this was the first time I made things from scratch. So it was a couple trial and error, had to figure out how to make room for the booty. But yeah, so cumulatively about 10, 12 hours over a couple days.
Awesome.
Probably about the same. I was altering a bridesmaid's dress for myself at the same time. So it was like switching between projects, hemming one skirt, hemming the other. So I would, probably about 10, 12 hours for all the pieces to come together.
All right. And then do you guys have any cosplay happy or horror stories that you would like to share?
I think the horror story that comes to mind is I had a wardrobe malfunction.
Those are the best stories.
It would have been very inappropriate had I not caught it. It was a seam coming undone.
Oh, no.
And luckily they have a really nice cosplay triage area, and I was able to fix it before I was fully indecent. But it was a pretty close one.
Good catch, good catch.
I think my cosplay happy story is I do a cosplay of the Enchantress from Beauty and the Beast. So it's a huge green dress and the crown and the rose, and having a young girl at a con come up to me and ask for her picture with a princess was just like, and she just asked me questions about my dress, and like when I sat down to take a picture with her, she sat on my lap and just sat with me for a little while. So like that was really fun because it's seeing the next generation of costume lovers, and like she just felt so comfortable and so safe. It was fun to know that there are still safe places for the littles like that. So that was my happy story.
So precious.
So
I don't know if I have like a really happy or like I don't have any horror stories yet, thankfully.
Yes.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But I just love the process of making cosplays, and I wish I had more time to do them because there are some that I would really like to do but would take a lot of time.
It's therapeutic. I've been working on a costume for, ever since COVID started. I have like 5 piles now, and I'm like, okay, I need to finish actually one of these, but I've been just taking my time and just letting it, be... so it's okay to take your time on them too. You don't have to always make them all in one day.
Oh yeah, that'd be way too much.
Octavia took a year.
Yeah.
So far, first con, nothing's really gone wrong. So thankfully, we'll try to keep it that way. And we'll be back. Yeah.
Awesome. And do you guys have any like social media that people can find you on, or?
I'm on Instagram as Choreonics. You'll see some of my other cosplays that I've done. One of the big ones that I've done is Raven from Teen Titans. That one, I get hired for a couple events for that one. So
cool.
Just kind of around, do it very casually. So
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Well, that was as awesome as you said. Thank you for interviewing all of those amazing people. Thank you, NDK attendees, for letting us hang out and talk with you. And I hope that more of us get to come see you next year. That would be awesome.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. And like, it's a con that like, it's the first con that I've gone to that was like out of state, that wasn't with like family or something along those lines. So it was really, really fun to like go with Mercedes 2 years ago. We as a cosplay team should go again soon.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I have to go next year because I think that's like it was the very first out of state con I went to, and that was in 2002.
Oh,
and
wow.
I have been going almost every single year since. So that'll be like my 20th anniversary.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so exciting.
Oh, we got to make it a big thing. As soon as they get hotel rooms up, let's grab one.
Heck yeah. So you hear that, indicate we are coming.
We are coming for you.
I'm still going to be tagging along.
Oh, yes.
But the part we didn't get to talk about, did you guys get any horror stories while you were there?
Yes. Yeah, so those are in the interviews. At the end of each
but
round.
yours. Did you have
ours? Any? Oh, yes. Yes, we did.
Did you have some horror?
Do you want to take this one, Sadie?
I think it's more of a road trip con horror story.
Oh boy.
And this is just something that kind of happens occasionally with out-of-state conventions when you're traveling. It is a hurdle that doesn't always happen with a local convention.
Also, side note, I love to drive.
You do?
Yes. So, like, Sadie started off the trip driving, but the rest of the time I was like, nope, I'm driving. I love to drive. And
she compensated my car.
Confiscated, yes.
Yeah, so Mercedes took over driving, and on the way there, I was kind of excited because for the first time ever, my GPS didn't take me down a sketchy road.
I know, it was super weird.
And I was like, oh, cool, they must have finished the one road that my GPS continuously tells us to go down that is like, unfinished. And I was like, cool, we don't have to worry about doing any sketchy roads on the way back.
Dirt road, massive potholes, that's usually what it is, but it wasn't there this time, so we're like, sweet.
Yeah, I jinxed it though.
Oh no.
Sure did.
Because on the way back, as Mercedes is driving, I'm looking at the GPS and I frown and I see just a streak of red on the one like highway between like Utah and Wyoming that we had gone through, and I'm like, that's not great. And it was like a 2 or 3 hour delay. And my GPS was like rerouting. I was like, okay, it's going to take us down like a different road. And I'm thinking it's like a little side road through a town or something normal.
Right? Something paved. But no, we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh. Yeah, we're out in the middle of the mountains, and it has us get off the freeway, and it immediately turns into a dirt road. And I'm like, oh no.
There's like no transition. It's just like dirt.
Wow.
As soon as the freeway ends. And I'm like, should we turn back around and just stick it out on the 2 hour? I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh no.
Let's
and Mercedes is like, no, let's take this utility road. It looks
adventure.
Fine. Yeah, that's kind of what we were saying. We're like, it'll be an adventure. And it didn't look too bad. And then we get like a mile down the utility road, and it continues to get like progressively less traveled.
And we're like, oh no.
To the point where it's like, there's kind of gravel, but it's mostly dirt. There's a big caravan of people who are taking this side road. So it is flinging dirt and rocks if you follow too close to the car in front of you.
Oh no.
My little car is a little Toyota Camry, and I love it dearly. But it is not an off-roading car.
It is not.
And it was like fishtailing on the side of like the mountain as we're driving over this road.
No.
There are
nightmare
rocks.
Fuel.
There are rocks that we have had to drive around because it is very obvious that these big hunks of boulders have just fallen off the side of this cliff.
Oh!
So we're just dodging and weaving around these big rocks while fishtailing on the gravel, and I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna die on this road, Mercedes. This is how we die.
No.
And it was like what, 21 miles of just.
And there was like a weird thing on the side where it's like, is that like an oil field, like in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, the oiled field, and there was definitely some like abandoned homes and like
wow.
and I'm just like, this is like, we're gonna go through like The Hills Have Eyes or like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm a big horror buff, so I was just ready to die.
At the same time, Sadie is having me listen to horror podcasts.
Oh yeah, I was having her listen to the Magnus Archives because that's my jam.
Yes.
I mean, you did the same thing to me, so like,
yeah,
come on.
But we made it.
We made it, and then as we're like driving home and whatnot, we managed to actually make it to a car wash 3 minutes before it closed.
Ooh.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so I was able to get Sadie's car washed before she went home.
Oh. Because going through a dirt road and through the mountains like my car looked like.
It was white. It was brown afterwards.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Love it. Love it.
Well, it sounds like an awesome weekend, even with the spooky ending. If y'all at home want to suggest a convention for us to visit, if you have an episode idea you want us to cover, if you have a scary story, a horror story, any kind of fun story you want to share with us, you can send that to us at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com
Or you can go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and fill out the googly Google form,
Or you can go to our Facebook page and send us your work in progress, your stories, your happy fun time, anything. We love to hear what you guys are working on, and our community does too, because we have some awesome fans that really just want to support each other and continue to build each other up. And if you're not a big fan of Facebook, we also have a Discord where you can send us your horror stories. And while you're on the internet, we would appreciate any help that you could give to the show. We don't pay to advertise, so word of mouth is how we get around. So you telling your friends, family members that they may enjoy the show really helps us out. Leaving us a review and a rating on Apple Podcast, on Podchaser, or wherever they let you. That also helps the algorithm gods shine happily upon our podcast. And of course, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/cosplaystitch. And some of the fantastic people we need to thank are Derek Swank, Dr. Steggy, James Donaldson, Cynics, at Queer Eye Sci-Fi, Howl Cause, Hot Riku, Rena Mira, Jazzy Kofed, Jaguar Quinn, Gloria Shu, Sudi, Stacy Pitt, Shock H, and Silver Deeds.
Hooray! That is awesome. Very good unison on that one, guys.
It was great. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning harmony.
Mercedes, one more reminder about that photography project.
Yeah, get your photos in, photographer credit, your credit as a cosplayer too, and if you have those behind the scenes photographer yoga photos, I'd love those as well. Again, send them to us at our Gmail or our website, and I will get those added into the video by
Hooray!
October 31st. Spooky Halloween.
Hey, and as always, if you want to check out foxbeautycosmetics.com, you can use our promo code STITCHANDSEAM to receive 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. Thanks, as always, to Macy Roberts for the use of her music as our theme song, and David Jeffress for his amazing editing. How are your podcasts going, David?
So the last voice is over. It's the last episode aired. And
oh my goodness.
I hope that you really enjoyed it and enjoyed all the twists and turns that it had for you. I am busy currently writing season 2 as soon as I'm done with this cosplay competition in mid-October. So, yeah, I really had fun. But if you still need more of me for whatever crazy reason, I also have Comic Trades Monthly, where we talk about comic books in a book club format. And in the month of October, we are talking about Batman: The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And it is a phenomenal piece of art, and I can't wait to talk about it.
That sounds so fun.
Dude, I'm totes. Now that I know that season 1 is done, I'm going to binge
Yes,
The Last
please.
Voice now.
Yes, please.
Yes.
And tell me your theories and your thoughts, and I want to hear them all. I will neither confirm nor deny anything, but I want to hear all of your thoughts.
You'll get messages at like 2 a.m. when I'm like having my nights where I can't sleep, and it's just me listening to it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this.
Love it. Love it.
So, since I was coming in remotely this week, I've been playing like a lot on my Switch and a lot of video games, and I've been thinking that cosplay is a lot like Tetris. If you try too hard to fit in, it's easy to just disappear. So be awesome and be yourself. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.